deGrasse Tyson addresses David Grush's challenge of a debate. We have that and a lot more UFO news to go over, so get in here. This is Jack with Cosmic Road. I talk about UFOs and the paranormal. Please hit like, please subscribe, share on social media, and let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Okay, let's just get right to it. First story of the day, David Grush in his interview with Jesse Mitchell the other day challenged Neil deGrasse Tyson to a debate. That's right. Neil is making a career seemingly out of being a UFO debunker. He and Mick West need to start a band. But David Grush is calling him out, challenging him to a debate. So let's see what Neil has to say.
It makes no point to debate someone who's talking about classified information that nobody else can see. That's not, so what needs to happen is it needs to release the information.
Yes.
We did that in the Apollo era. We got moon rocks, brought it back, shared the rocks with the world so everybody can investigate it and evaluate it. So if you have a result, the way science arrives at objective truth is not by debate, which politicians like doing. And by the way, I've never seen a debate ever where one person says, you know, you convinced me, I agree, let's go. It has never happened.
Happens on this show sometimes.
Yeah,
sometimes here.
We try to do a little bit of that here.
So my quick point is that all he has to do is release it for independent analysis. And in science, an objective truth is established by multiple verifications of a claim. And eyewitness testimony, sworn testimony, is irrelevant to science. We don't care what you...
Okay, that's enough from Neil. It's interesting he talks about the moon landing as an analogy. Well, in the moon landing, at least everybody agreed there was a moon. So I don't know if that's a really good analogy, Neil. But yeah, he's really harping on the classified aspect of this and not the unclassified, because clearly that would not make his point. He's not talking about the Tic Tac or the gimbal or anything like that. He's specifically talking about David Grush's evidence on these black budget programs. Very well, doing a good job of sidestepping the issue entirely when it comes to the UFO phenomenon. So good job, Neil. You sidestepped David's response very well. Neil didn't get where he is for nothing. Meanwhile, there's a new article about John Alexander. That's right, Colonel John Alexander, a very interesting figure in ufology. I love him, and I am very... well, let's just say he's very mysterious, and as much as I love him for being a colorful character in ufology, I do have serious questions about John. I do. I really do. I really do. I think he knows some stuff, and he may have been involved in some interesting stuff. And he actually talks about that. And then this article goes into a little detail, talking about his book. We're not just talking about things flying around, John Alexander said, mentioning subsurface widgets not just flying, but seemingly communicating with something below the surface. These are not really new. What's new is the actual acceptance within the military and somewhat the scientific community that some of these things are real. I used to run the UFO program 35 or 40 years ago. What exactly does he mean by the UFO program? And maybe a UFO program? I suspect that John Alexander was read into the program, or at least some aspects of it. That's why I have questions about him. But now he's openly talking about running a UFO program, so I doubt it was the program. But you know, I suspect that he was read into the program or part of it. But he said, I used to run the UFO program 35 or 40 years ago. Then everything that was found in the program, we already knew in the 1980s. Probably the 1880s too, but the 1980s. We saw cases of Mach 500 in 1957. We now talk about Mach 5 being really fast. All those things had been observed decades before. Mach 500. Woo! And I guess that's within our atmosphere. Probably not even creating a sonic boom. I mean, man, this technology is astounding. John Alexander was one of the first to spend the night at Skinwalker Ranch, which holds a centuries of unusual activity that are just mind-boggling, he said. There seems to be a control mechanism that presents events to folks who are there, and it seems to know how the researchers are going to respond even before the event occurs. And then it morphs and says, "Oh, you like that? Try this," and gives them another experience. Skinwalker Ranch is amazing, and John's connection to Skinwalker Ranch is really intriguing. Anyway, a very interesting article, and I'm looking forward to John's talk at the symposium that this article mentions, and I may have to check out his book. But I'll link to the article, and you can read it at your leisure. Meanwhile, is time travel the most highly guarded secret, or one of the most highly guarded secrets of the control group? Well, this remote viewer met Colonel Corso's son. As you know, as you probably know, Colonel Philip J. Corso wrote the book The Day After Roswell, and he was very much a whistleblower with that book, revealing how the military has been reverse engineering alien technology and farming it out to private industry. Really amazing book. A lot of the details in that book are incorrect. The ghostwriter took a lot of liberties and tried to make it into this big narrative of the war with aliens and stuff, and also overstating how that technology, the reverse engineering it, impacted our industry. But the general thrust of it was real, and it's a great read, and I definitely encourage you to read it, but also read the other stuff around it, showing the breakdowns of what actually happened. But anyway, so Colonel Corso, really interesting figure, and his son has been saying some stuff, or did say some stuff, and when he was speaking to Dennis Knoppe at one point, he mentioned time travel. And let's hear what he told Dennis.
And you know, I think I said this in the debrief too. Years ago, I had an opportunity to interview Phil Corso Jr., the son of Colonel Corso, who wrote The Day After Roswell. And we talked a lot. It was a great conversation. The podcast was a great conversation. And at the end, what he said was the things that we can't talk about is time manipulation, time travel. And that's where he left it with me. So the fact that we're getting this information and it's not released, it's not out there, I think lends a little bit of credibility to, yeah, maybe there is a little bit more to this that we're not being made aware of.
Yeah, so is time travel and time manipulation one of the huge secrets of the control group? That makes perfect sense to me. I've seen a lot of evidence for time travel and time manipulation in the UFO phenomenon and beyond. So I don't know what to make of it. It is such a weird thing to wrap your head around, but it seems to be a thing, and it comes up again and again with UFO abductees and beyond that. Meanwhile, Tim Burchett gives us more information about how the intelligence community is actually a big part of the cover-up and in stymieing his efforts for UFO transparency, and even more than that, actually curtailing legislation, stopping the select committee that he was trying to get established, and more. And there was a new item that I had not heard about before. So let's give a listen.
And the intelligence community is doing their job by keeping this all secret and by stopping legislation and putting up a roadblock everywhere we go. If you remember, I just had an amendment on the FAA reauthorization bill that just said if a commercial pilot spots something and they make a report to the FAA, they have to make that report to the United States Congress. And it was blocked in the U.A.P. The U.A.P., the man in charge of the bills on the floor, said that, in fact, the intelligence community had a problem with that, not the intelligence committee.
If you don't know what a whip is an official of a political party whose task is to ensure party discipline in a legislature. This means ensuring that members of the party vote according to the party platform rather than according to their own individual ideology or the will of their donors or constituents. So a very political official. Whips are the party's enforcers. So really interesting that the intelligence agency or the intelligence community is able to bring such pressure to bear on this party enforcer, so much so that it can actually curtail legislation like the one that Tim was trying to bring about, where, pilots who are seeing UFOs, well, those reports also go to Congress, which is makes perfect sense for that to take place. Congress is active. They're trying to get more active in this subject. So why wouldn't those reports go to Congress, right? But it was the whip under pressure, Tim says, from the intelligence community that did not allow that to happen. Tim didn't say whether it was the majority whip or the minority whip. The majority whip is Emmer, a Republican, and the minority whip is Catherine Clark. But you would think that if he's powerful enough to be to kill legislation, he would be the majority, right? And that's Congressman Tim Emmer. He was sworn in his first term in the U.S. House of Representatives on January 6, 2015. He sits on the House Financial Services Committee, so money guy. He's also an attorney. Sounds like a very safe, comfortable, establishment sort of politician. The sort that could be easily intimidated or pressured by the control group. Or maybe bought off. I don't know, guys. Let me know what you think. In any case, we have a new player in the game, a new player that is easily influenced, intimidated, or part of the control group. Now, some of you guys want me to cover the missing plane story. I really don't know enough about it. Yeah, there was a pilot that ejected and then his plane vanished. And then the plane was found, or at least the crash site was found, although I didn't see any wreckage from the crash site. The pilot seems to be okay. The plane was on autopilot. Why did he eject? It's a weird story, and I need more details about it. So I'm kind of waiting to see waiting for the other shoe to drop on this story before I really comment more on it. But it's definitely an intriguing story, and I'm going to keep my eyes open for it. And if you see something on it before I do, let me know. Oh, and I thought this was interesting. Okay, all right, check this out. According to the late ufologist Nigel Kerner, this is a list of some characteristics that one could look for when trying to identify an alien-human hybrid gatekeeper walking among us. Kerner, via an abductee, called these the alphas. Okay, a hybrid gatekeeper. I have never heard that term before. But, I love the Juan. He's always got interesting stuff to share. So let's see what these alphas, these alien hybrid gatekeepers, are all about. How do you identify them? They are extremely intelligent and in an evaluative sense and distant in demeanor. They show a great natural affinity with machines and little natural affinity with children. They have little sense of their own bodies and far less sense of pain. They are not well coordinated physically. They are more prone to illnesses and infirmity than the average person. That'd be weird. I would expect like an alien hybrid to be like a super being, like to ward off any illnesses. That's so weird. They obsessively seek the company of those with the opposite characteristics and usually have partnerships with highly emotional individuals. Okay, so Spock is attracted to a friendship with Captain Kirk or something like that. Interesting. They resist sitting anywhere where the back of their head rests against any ferrous material. Almost all hold high positions in governments and large international corporations. Yeah, okay, so is that what the hybrids are doing? Embedding themselves in government and large international corporations? I don't know, guys, but that's creepy as F. Oh, meanwhile, this is a juicy story. Jack Sephardi says Chris Millen is trying to destroy him. What?
I have people in the CIA or from ex-CIA who are supporting what I'm doing. And then I have guys who are trying to destroy me. If I get hit by a car...
Who's trying to destroy you?
Christopher Mellon's trying to destroy me.
Why?
That's a good question.
Why would he want to? What would his motive be?
Because we got into a fight over Donald Trump.
You and Christopher Mellon did?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not going to get into the politics of all of that. But so it wasn't because of alien stuff. It was over politics. Jack is on the right, Chris is on the left. What you gonna do? Don't destroy each other, though. Yeah, so take it easy, guys. Don't get political. Don't let partisan politics interfere with UFO disclosure. You're both on the same side, guys. Let's keep this train going. Anyway, guys, that's my UFO news roundup for today, but let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And if you've enjoyed this video, please give me a big thumbs up. I sure would appreciate it. Smash the subscribe button and the bell to be notified of future videos. You don't want to miss a thing. Join me on social media. There's Facebook and Twitter links below. Wouldn't it be fun to hang out on social media? And if you shared this video on social media, it would not hurt my feelings at all. Meanwhile, there's plenty of other videos to check out on the channel. And if you wanted to support Cosmic Road in a bigger way, please consider becoming a channel member, because channel members are rock stars, and I really appreciate you guys' support. Thank you so much. See you next time, guys. This is Jack with Cosmic Road signing out.